You're listening to Hyrule Historians podcast. I am your host, GoldCartridgeGamer, or GCG for short. This is a podcast where three friends and I talk about all things Legend of Zelda. You can submit topics or ideas for us to discuss on future episodes by emailing me at goldcartridgegamer@gmail.com. Today's podcast music is from Zelda and Chill by GameChops. You can find Zelda and Chill among many other amazing albums by GameChops at GameChops.com. Without further ado, let's get into today's podcast. So we can just swing right into it. Cypher seems pretty gung-ho. So I'm going to let you rip it off because you seem like you've got a lot of energy behind this game of Age of the Calamity.
Okay, so Age of Calamity, right? Now, let's get this out the way. Let's call Age of Calamity for what it is, right? Us Zelda meth heads. You know what I mean? That was Nintendo giving us like a little something to hold us off because, you know, everybody's waiting for Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2 has been it released a teaser that was super, super dark and, you know, it teased the return of Ganondorf, and I was hype. After that, silence. We haven't heard nothing from it. All we know is like, hey, it's going in development smoothly. So Age of Calamity came out as a prequel, you know, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great because the Hyrule Warriors formula works better with Breath of the Wild prequel because, you know, that's when the war happened. I love the game, love the gameplay. You know what I mean? Technical issues aside, I just hated the twist. Right? I mean, one of the biggest things I was excited for this game is seeing the events of Breath of the Wild unfold. You know what I mean? Like the four champions, by the way, spoiler warning, the four champions dying, Link getting knocked the hell out for 100 years, and Zelda fighting her way back to the castle to seal Calamity Ganon. They were like, nah, we're not doing none of that. Instead, here's the happy ending. Here's the alternate ending to the timeline. And personally speaking, I liked it until I thought about it. I'm like, yo, I don't like this no more.
Yeah, it's definitely got its ups and downs. I for sure wanted to play the, like, you know, brutal fight for Zelda getting back to the castle and then sealing Ganon away. But I mean, it opens up interesting possibilities if it is indeed canon. And like, is it gonna going back to having more timelines again? Because the rumor was that Breath of the Wild was supposed to be unifying the timeline. Well, if this is canon, it just splits it again.
He has a problem with that. That is just like the optimistic way of thinking. You know, just to make sense of what happened, because the questions this game raised are not the questions we wanted. There's not the answers we were looking for. You know what I mean? We loved the Breath of the Wild because it took the formula to a whole different direction. Link didn't win. Link didn't slay Ganon. You know what I mean? The four champions, like, there was actual death. There was actual consequence. In the other Zelda games, that was implied. So I thought Nintendo was taking a very bold move to let us play those moments. Like, one of my favorite cutscenes, it turned out to be a letdown, was when Link was fighting the all four Blights. And I'm thinking, oh, this is the part. This is where he's going to get, you know, slain or put to sleep or whatever you want to call it. And didn't happen. Now I felt like the entire game, after that point, I had a big question mark. Like, what is going on? And then it had a very unsatisfying conclusion to that. In my opinion, of course, you know, because, you know, the Zelda lover's going to hate me for saying these things.
No. I mean, I think you're right. I think there were questions raised and like really cool, you know, things hinted at that didn't pop up. So, because they were erased by time travel.
I think I'm more angry that they use time travel as an excuse to give a happy ending.
It seems very lazy, yeah.
It was like Nintendo was like, oh, we're going to probably have some kids play this, so here's a happy ending. The only way to do it is to do time travel. And I think it also gave them an opportunity to, if they walk themselves in a corner, they can be like, oh, look, we did time travel again. Remember what happened last time we did that? Multiple splits. So Breath of the Wild 2 could be technically any timeline now. It could not be Breath of the Wild timeline. It could be the other one. I mean, it could be from any of them now that we know time travel exists in this particular universe.
Well, I think this seems like it's the first time that they've gone. I mean, there's been events in, you know, the Zelda games before where you're like, oh, okay, I get why that split the timeline off. And it's not to say they haven't done time travel before, because Ocarina kind of sort of did, but not really. But like they have completely split this into 2 timelines now. And
I think what you're trying to say, like in the sense, because like Ocarina, like Majora's Mask, the game revolved around time travel. I think it's the fact that it was a game, having it become a game mechanic versus a legit plot device that has no satisfying conclusion. I think that's what you're trying to get at, because if you think about it, even the promotion of this game was wrong. It's a prequel. Now we don't know if that's even true. Does that make sense?
And to be fair, I haven't played this game. I played the demo. I'm like, nah, it's not for me. But I was super interested to, I'm like, as soon as this game comes out, I'm gonna hit up Wikipedia. Yeah, I want to see what happens. And as soon as I started reading it, I'm just like, wait, what? This seemed like it should have been so straightforward. And then you do all the time travel stuff. And the only thing I can think of, obviously Breath of the Wild 2, nobody knows what's going to happen now. Everybody's kind of been referring to it as Breath of the Wild 2. But now you've got a game since then, which is very much obviously within the same universe that's now happened more recently. So do you play off of just where Breath of the Wild left off? Do you play off of where Age of Calamity left off? The only thing that I think could be cool, but it's Nintendo, so I don't think it'll happen, reintroduce the what used to be a staple of Zelda games, whether it was Link to the Past with Light World, Dark World, Ocarina, past and present, or present and future, whatever you want to call it. Have the dual worlds again, and just have both timelines somehow be in this one game, and maybe you go back and forth. That way you kind of get a little bit of both, but it would just, at this point, I feel like it would be completely weird to just pick one or the other for the sequel and just pretend the other one didn't happen. I just feel like they've kind of written themselves into a corner now or something.
I think the worst thing they can do, if I'm being honest, and guys, feel free to correct me in here, is say, oh, by the way, Age of Calamity is non-canon, is a what if, right? Because now I feel like I wasted my time, because I would have skipped it, or not skipped it.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't have bought it at launch. It would have been something that I pick up eventually. You know what I mean? Because the first Hyrule Warriors, my bad, GG, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say you're right, because you brought up the first Hyrule Warriors. I've never bought that because it wasn't canon, and I was like, Musos are fun, but that's a lot. So
yeah, that game's a lot. I waited a long time to pick it up on cheap, and otherwise I wasn't in a hurry because it wasn't important to the story. Where I was under the impression, like Cypher was saying, this game had story elements. So like even Sean said it's not for him. He still wanted to know what happened as soon as it came out. He was still interested and invested in that story.
Yeah.
And then you come to find out, like, well, we wrote a different timeline. We just split the timeline. You don't know what universe Breath of the Wild is in versus this. Because it goes back to the champions. They're aware of all of this. Yeah. So which timeline is Breath of the Wild in? Because they show no sign of any of that.
And it's just so annoying. Like, Breath of the Wild kicks off in a perfect... in hindsight, you could look back at Breath of the Wild and be like, oh, duh, of course we're going to get a prequel at some point. Like, what the hell happened? How did we get here? They kind of explain how we got there through cutscenes and whatnot, but, like, that should be a game in and of itself. And then I feel like that's what this should have been, and then Nintendo went all Nintendo on us and just convoluted the whole thing.
Here's how Nintendo hookshot themselves on the foot. See what I did there?
That was a good one.
That was a good one, man.
But here's a problem when it comes down to, like, in storytelling, like, obviously, show don't tell. But I also like the implied element, we know something terrible happened in Hyrule because it's in ruins, right? We know something terrible happened to Link. We know that the 4 champions died a heroic death and all these things, right? You ruined that state. You ruined that emotional impact, especially for Link. Link has amnesia, by the way. That is a boring story trope at this point. It's a cliche. But, we never seen Link in such a vulnerable spot, like weak, beaten, defeated. Even the Master Sword is chipped, destroyed. Zelda can't hear the master sword's voice again, which fans are theorizing is just Fee being her annoying self. Thank God we can't hear her. By the way, I'm not excited for Skyward Sword. Anyways, so my problem with this is the fact that if they go back, let's say Breath of the Wild 2 goes like, okay, there's a way to fix the timeline, and so you can get the best possible ending where everybody's alive and everybody's happily ever after. I would hate that. Because it means that everything, like the emotional journey that Link just went through, gets cut to a fairy tale cliche happy ending, right? Like, I'm going to tell you right now, and I know GCGs might disagree with me with this because he loves Twilight Princess, but the worst decision the Twilight Princess did was make Ganondorf the main villain, because Zant was such a great original villain that I feel like, hell, they could have left Ganondorf for the sequel. But Zant should have stayed the main villain of that game because he was ominous, scary. Like, he was awesome to see on screen. Like, the way he was, like, psychologically messed with Midna. I don't want Nintendo to do that again with Breath of the Wild, where we had such a good thing going with the plot being so, no hope, everything's destroyed, why continue type of feel, to them being like, psych, everybody's alive, no stakes. We didn't even use the Triforce this time. You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of that? You know what I mean? Like, why am I invested in this?
I will say, as a Twilight Princess fan, I will fault them as well. I think Zant should have been the enemy. They should have just left
they should have left
out.
Ganondorf out.
The entire time I kept thinking, like, okay, they've got Zant here, and I'm fine with this, and it's a new guy. Like, at some point, Ganondorf has to die. I mean, period. In whatever timeline, you can redirect somebody only so many times before you've like found a way to kill him or stop him.
Well, Demise gave him that plot armor. Like, Demise before he dies, which I didn't even know you could do that. You know what I mean? Like, curses are so vague. You're like, hey, by the way, I'm not dead. I'm just going to keep reincarnating. And this village that only has, women. Like, I'm like, bro, that was an oddly specific curse you picked for yourself. You know?
Maybe he time traveled.
Maybe. I mean,
I feel like Nintendo's going to wear out time traveling.
Yeah, the only way that it could be like that Age of Calamity could be like worth it is if there's still two timelines, like, and the next game is
technically there's three.
Well, I'm sorry, there's two timelines from Breath of the Wild.
You're saying once
one
they've all
where
converged
everything's
onto
good.
it.
Yeah, one where everything like, okay, yeah, you get your Disney happy ending. And then the other one where like, no, it stays dark. The champions are dead. We got new champions that Link recruited. If you went through all that because you didn't have to in Breath of the Wild. And, and then the trailer looks like it's going to be or the tease that we got, not a trailer, seems like a darker game. Like, you got like this zombified Ganondorf and like what sounds like Zelda songs playing backwards.
We don't know it's a Ganondorf for sure.
Well,
we just assume
that's true.
based on the Gerudo.
He's some Gerudo person.
Come on, bro. You know damn well it's Ganondorf.
I mean, I'm 90% sure that's Ganondorf from Twilight Princess because, I mean, he has the hole in his chest. He has the long hair. He has the jewelry, the Gerudo symbols. Like, he looks like the Twilight Princess Ganondorf.
Yeah. So he's got some weird hand attached to his chest.
The thing with Ganondorf in this one, like, okay, so positive things, right? Why I'm excited about this Ganondorf in particular is because, one, it confirmed one of my own personal theories about Breath of the Wild, where Calamity Ganon is not Ganon, because you don't even need a Master Sword to kill him. You can kill him with a stick if you have enough of them, So, and I was thinking, like, okay, so Calamity Ganon is just this, Ganondorf's, bad vibes that took physical form. And to me, the fact that for this one was like, okay, yeah, the source of the calamity, they find like a mummified Ganondorf just, cracking his neck because this dude loves doing that for some reason. I like that. I enjoy that. Dude, seriously, if you go back, Ganondorf is just like after Zan snapped his neck, that dude has never been the same, bro.
That dude's pissed. He wants revenge.
But here's the issue again with that, right? And this is why Age of Calamity, it almost made me wish that they didn't even drop it. They should just continue with the canon, like everybody doesn't win, everybody's dead or in a coma. It's because this new dude, I even forgot his name. He was so forgettable, right? homie, the one that brought Harbinger Ganon from the future to the past, so he can recreate Calamity Ganon. Because now they're implying that Calamity Ganon was manufactured.
How about Aster?
Yeah, Aster. Yeah, that douchebag. And to me, it was like, okay, so what is Calamity Ganon? What is this significance? You know what I mean? And also, if he was so easy to defeat, because there was no casualties, like they took him out, and people were like, all right, cool, I guess let's just go back home. Why was he such a threat? It almost kind of diminishes, because look, when I first played Breath of the Wild, and I saw that serpent-like pig flying through Hyrule Castle, and the king was like, yeah, you gotta fight that thing, Link. And I'm like, the fuck I do? You know what I mean? And it was like, Ganon went super anime on us. He went super weave mode. That was ominous. Like, you immediately after seeing that, that something terrible happened in Hyrule. To go back to Age of Calamity and just fight this dude, like he's just like a beefed up, Calamity Ganon, yeah.
He's like Akuma Ganon. Like, that's what he looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, it was like, what was the point? So I don't know. I think the Age of Calamity is almost like, I feel like they shouldn't have dropped it, or they should have said, hey, by the way, if you're a Zelda fan, I'm gonna let you know right now, this is non-canon. For us, for you fans that are about to make a podcast talking about this, it's non-canon. Let me make your life easier, and they didn't. That's why we're here. So.
Yeah, they've been pretty cagey about whether it's canon or not. They're like, well, it's like part of a story. It's like, well, everything's part of a story. Thanks.
And then they were like, Nintendo was like so hands-on with this.
Like, we're just trying to give you guys a narrative.
Made sure it had like the Breath of the Wild look and aesthetics and the lore. Like they put too much work into it for it to be non-canon. And you took a Muso game, which is perfect for the dramatic fight that they tease in Breath of the Wild. They make it sound like this all-out, like, Knuckles, your last leg, you barely standing fight. And we get a Disney ending. Like,
I was hoping for
I was
some
so deflated.
Yeah. Dude, I was hoping for, I don't know, is there any Final Fantasy fans here?
Yes.
In Crisis Core, seeing, Zack just get absolutely destroyed by the mobs of Shinra soldiers at the end, and the very emotional. Like, dude, imagine, like, I would have shed some real tears, not thug tears, like real actual tears. If you see Link in his last leg, the Master Sword chipped, the Guardian just sniping him, and then they have to drag his almost lifeless body and put him on and just laying. I would have been like, dude, I've never seen Link so vulnerable. Even when they created the Hyrule story, which, by the way, that was because the fan was demanding some type of canonization to the timeline. We know that there's a timeline where Link falls, right, where he loses to Ganondorf, right?
Yes,
but we never saw that. You know what I mean? We never there's never been a a situation where we saw Link. All we know that he's gonna triumph. He has courage, because apparently that's all you need to be a dude who has, immense power. Like, dude, you just gotta be brave,
Where he's fighting this guy who has the Triforce of Power.
Yeah. But to give the fans, right, a moment of Link actually losing. Hell, we gotten that from Mario, like in the form of Luigi's Mansion. Yeah, that's that's just giving Luigi his own game. But even with the beloved Mario, Nintendo has been loose with the whole Mario always being the hero type thing, like I would have loved to have the final scene playing as Super Saiyan's Zelda, because that's what it was, at the end, and just going trucking back to the castle as after Link is laid to rest, and then she seals the dude, like I would love to see that or play that, be part of that, but all we got is, hey, we recruited the homies from the future. And I'm like, all right, cool. And even that didn't really help the plot. You got a couple scenes, a couple seconds of Sidon talking to his sister. Rivali's still an asshole. Man, I hate it. I want to see that dude. Oh man, I couldn't wait.
Even so I played that whole game with my son, and I'm probably about the third or fourth cutscene with Rivali. My son turns to me and goes, "He is not nice. I do not like him." I was like, "No, he sucks."
I'll say this though, props to the game. The Rivali boss fight was actually very enjoyable. And the Link and Rivali little cutscene, I was like, man, that's awesome. But But still, like I was like, man, I was praying to see this dude get shot down from the air. You know what I'm saying? Just like snipe him off like 360 no scope. But nope, he's alive.
One of the best parts of the time travel thing was it Teba or Teba, however you say his name. Yeah. You get the kind of sense that he's like, man, our champion's an asshole.
Just straight up.
You know. So. I'll say this to give the game some props, because I know who was it that didn't play it? Who didn't play it from us?
Sean didn't play it.
I haven't played it.
Yeah. One thing that I did enjoy that I feel like you should at least experience, I mean, at least outside of cutscene, is that the interaction between the champions and their successors. It's actually pretty nice. You know what I mean? When you have like Urbosa talking to the teenage queen, which is kind of weird because like the Gerudo queen or chief is like a prepubescent teen compared to Urbosa, who's like a grown woman, clearly in her 30s. And I'd be like, bro, you guys could. How are you guys this desperate that there's a whole war going on? I was like, well, shit, she hasn't reached puberty yet. Let's make her the queen. You know what I mean? And let's give her the most powerful artifacts of the Gerudo, right? Aside from all that, the interaction was actually pretty dope between them. You know what I mean? Like Urbosa still calling people little bird, which is a little demeaning if you think about it. You got Daruk being the big bro that everybody wants, like I liked it, you know what I mean? But if they would have given more of that, those were just like one-off like cutscenes.
Yeah, like Sidon and Mipha together was pretty good as well.
Yeah, that was very emotional. I like that, because Sidon's over here lamenting his sister's death and stuff. And he's telling her like, yeah, you died in the future. And she's like, oh, is Link okay? I'm like, wow, that's your takeaway here. Is Link okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
No, I feel like overall, when it comes down to Zelda and the timeline, I feel like Nintendo, and this is actually true for Nintendo and their older properties, right? Nintendo doesn't know how to stick to a single plot thread, and when they do and it's successful, for some reason, they falter, because if you go back, right, and let's look at the older IPs. I know that's not the subject, but, for argument purposes, right, you got the Metroid series. Yeah, we got Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, and the fans were thirsty for more Metroid, right? They gave us other M. You got Star Fox, and man, the crime they've been committing with that series is,
murder.
They just murdering. They have so many things, right? So many IPs that if they just continue a single thread of storyline, right? Ocarina of Time, extremely successful. Majora's Mask, successful. You know what I mean? Then we jump to Twilight Princess years later, and we have Wind Waker in between, and people wanted to know, like, okay, what happened to the Ocarina of Time? What happened to Link? Like, oh, he's that Stalfos dude. Yeah, I mean, Link had mad regret. Like, really? Because all I heard him say was grunts. You know what I mean? Apparently the dude has shame. So they never stuck with something, And every Zelda game, for me at least, always raises more question. Majora's Mask is my personal favorite, but they never answer. Like, where the hell does Majora come from? Where does the fierce deity come from? You know what I mean? What happened to all these powerful artifacts, like the Ocarina of Time, which has the power to control the weather and time itself? I'm like, you would think something like that will still be relevant.
Just disappears into time, and and you bring up Majora's Mask, like. Termina has like all different gods and everything, and like how far away is that from Hyrule, and like will you get to go there again, and all that other stuff. So yeah, there's, like you said, they often just raise more questions than they answer. So
and every time they create a new game, they do the same thing, because Breath of the Wild, everybody was excited, like, okay, what branch of the timeline is this a sequel to? And Nintendo came out like, oh, by the way, this is none of the timelines, but all of them. And you're like, what?
Yeah, and they mentioned that, like, I want to say that they say somewhere in Breath of the Wild that, like, the Guardians were created 10,000 years in the past. And I was like, well, so how far are we from the furthest game in the timeline? Because if Guardians were created 10,000 years ago, how big is this timeline? So... It's a lot of confusing stuff. Yeah, it's Nintendo. Yeah,
they can make it as big as small as they want.
Bro, they're just at this point, they just like they have a dartboard full of crap. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, okay, wherever it lands on, that's what we're going with. And like for Breath of the Wild, it's like, okay, post-apocalyptic, cool. Futuristic weapons, cool. Link fights with a stick. all right, cool. That's gonna be the next game. And then somewhere on the line, somebody yelled out Dark Souls. So I'm like, all right, let's make it that hard. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think there are like some redeeming qualities. Like it's a really fun Musou game if you're talking about Age of Calamity, but yeah, like you know they went all way off the reservation with this, so it's there's a lot of mixed feelings for it.
What was your initial reaction when you first realized that the game was not going to end the way you thought it was for everyone?
Very disappointed.
Okay, so with me is this question speaks a lot about my person. I'm like when it comes down to like my favorite form of entertainment, and I know they're gonna just drop the ball, they're gonna fumble the whole thing. I remain strangely optimistic. I'm like, no, something else is gonna happen. See, what they're telling us is that the Guardians are alive, or the champions, but they're not. They're gonna die at the end. They're gonna give us hope and take it away. And then I remain hopeful to the very end. Hell, I even did the grind to get the real ending or the secret ending. I'm like, this is it. They're gonna show us. And no, it was the crappiest of secret endings, and I grinded for that shit. And I was so disappointed. I had to convince myself that I liked it.
Are you talking about with Terrico when it wakes up?
Yeah, when it wakes up. But I'm talking about like the entire thing. Like after I find out it's not gonna end the way. Like I streamed the game, right? And the scene where Link is fighting the 4 blights, and it looks like super bleak, and Link is about to get killed, and the choreography was awesome. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna happen. They're gonna kill my boy. They're gonna stab him. It's gonna be Thunderblight. Thunderblight's a bitch. And then Zelda out of nowhere, bro, just she reached into her inner Saiyan, and she goes like, you know what though? Plot armor, plot convenience. Everybody gonna get an arrow to the chest. And I was so sad, dude. Which is weird because I was sad for Link to die or put in a coma, but I was like, man, this sucks. I was so sad.
Well, they almost had like a actual like emotional, emotionally grounding story. Is like, your companions die, the hero falls, and death is just postponed because Ganon is temporarily sealed, and then you I just hit my mic, and then you just roll into Breath of the Wild after that. But they went with Disney ending instead.
Let's take it a step further with Age of Calamity. Or no, I'm sorry, Sean. What about you? I know you didn't play the game, but what were your thoughts when you watched the video?
He's thinking, I'm glad I didn't buy it. I'm listening to you guys.
I'm sure.
I will say, all that aside, it was a fun game to play, so I'm glad I did buy it. But
yeah,
anyway.
I guess if you like that kind of game, which I've never really been into, at least you can play it and be like, well, that was fun, but why the hell did they do that? But for me, who wasn't really interested in the gameplay, I was more just interested in the story, and then being let down by that, I don't know. It sucks. I mean, not the game in general. It sucks for me that they did that, because I feel like that was like a softball for Nintendo. It's like, look, you've got the perfect story to tell, and like Cypher was saying, this is our chance to kind of do something different and show Link being vulnerable, if not straight up dead. And then they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. Let's just throw everything in the garbage and say, oh, time travel, so now none of that really counts, and here's the new story. I don't know. It bothers me a lot. Nintendo, I don't know what they're doing.
I don't think any of us know.
It's crazy though, because I feel like Nintendo, like either they hate money or their pride, because Nintendo does have a trend of not listening to their fans. The fans have been vocalizing for ages what they want, like
I think they've only listened one time. As far as Zelda goes.
Really? Which one was that?
So, set the stage. You have Ocarina of Time, you have Majora's Mask. Everybody, for the most part, loved those games or loved one of them.
No.
Very, very popular Zelda games. I feel like they're top 3 for most people for 3D Zeldas, for majority.
Yeah.
And then you get Space World GameCube just came out and they show Link and Ganondorf fighting. And you're like,
fight.
oh, getting amped. And you're like, sword fight. And you're like, that's the kind of fight I wanted in the 64. But now I've got this GameCube, way more powerful. Can't wait to see what they do. And I can't be the only one that saw that Space World demo and went, I'm freaking hyped.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that that was like the driving force. That in Smash Brothers was the driving force of me by getting a GameCube. It was like that.
You're
PS2.
not wrong.
It was
I
like
already
that.
wanted one for other reasons, but that just like pushed it over the top of justifying when I got one for Christmas. Like, I'm going to get to play this really badass Zelda game at some point.
It was a tech
And then-
demo.
And you find, and even if it's a tech demo, you're like, okay, well, that'll roll over into the game. Nintendo's known for doing that, throwing something together based on a project they're working on and going, hey, look at this kind of cool stuff we're doing. This will roll over into the final project. And then we finally get the real Zelda and they show Wind Waker. And everyone's just like, what the F?
You know what's the worst part about that? Aside from the Wind Waker, right? Because let's face it. Like, I played Wind Waker like reluctantly, and it turned out to be a great game once you get past the graphics. But you remember the commercial for the Wind Waker? How dark
not.
is, bro? This was like the most pull the rug from right under whatever the analogy is or saying goes. Point is, look, I'm bilingual. My thing is the commercial was so good, right? It's like it seems like it was a girl, Zelda, locked in the tower in a castle, and it's dark, it's raining, and she's over here like, he's gonna fight for me. She's going like, he's gonna fight for me, he's gonna save me, he's gonna do everything in his power to come for me, right? Because my name is, and at the end, like she would say Zelda, and that was the commercial. Then when they released the full commercial, right, because that was a teaser, and they was sprinkling gameplay of Wind Waker in between, you were like, is this the same commercial? Because it looked so good, so Game of Thrones-y, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking up the commercial. I remember this now.
And
I
I'm
don't
over here
remember
like,
this.
you know what the commercial looked like? If you even look back to it, it looked like the Majora's Mask commercial. I don't know if you saw the Majora's Mask commercial, but that shit was fucking crazy. Like, it's a bunch of news stations, right, saying like, we're counting on you, kid, you need to save us and stuff. Like, and you have like a moon just falling into like what seemed like a modern city, and then they start cutting into gameplay to like Termina being destroyed by the moon, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, only for the Nintendo 64. And I'm like, I need to get this because Link, like the entire world is over here talking to Link. You got like people like, holding out signs outside, like, saying like, hey, save us, Link, whatever. And I'm like, what the is going on? And
I
it was
do
hype.
remember this, and there's such a disconnect between the real life and the actual game.
Hey,
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's just a jarring disconnect between what the final product is and what that amps up to be.
And it's sad though if you think about it, because nobody ever blames Nintendo for like falsely hyping their clients. Because we Nintendo fans, at least in my case, I'm dumb. I'm like, Nintendo. I'm talking all this shit about Age of Calamity. I still bought it. They're gonna have an expansion pack. I'm gonna get it. I'm like, this sucks. Here, bro, just charge. Just take it from my debit card. You know what I mean? Like,
here's my $20. Take it.
like, just take it.
You're like, how much is it? I don't care. You're raising the price of Zelda games? That's fine. Here's $70.
Like, I'll admit it, I'm a hypocrite when it comes down to Nintendo. Hell, I'm a huge Smash Brothers fan, right? When I saw like Min from ARMS being a DLC, I was like, this sucks. All right, well, add it to the roster. I mean, what can you do?
Nintendo's the only one that continually gets a
like
pass
that,
from
and
its
then it was
fans.
like, and then they were like, we're adding Sephiroth. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to buy it now.
All they have to do is give one character, and most people are going to buy the whole pass.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally what I did for all of them. I'm like, really, Nintendo's what you're gonna do? Is like, hey, bro, Sephiroth. I'm like, God, just take. You got my account number. Just take it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So going back to where we jumped off the rail there, Nintendo. So you got Wind Waker, and I don't know about you, but my first reaction to that was, "What the hell is this?" So cartoony, doesn't look hardcore or adult, or looks real kiddie. And I was like, "Oh, this is some stupid lame game." And I bought it going in thinking like, "Oh, this game's gonna suck," but it's Zelda. I'll still give it a shot. Ended up liking the game, but found the game too easy, and fans complained. What did we get after Wind Waker?
Twilight Princess? No.
Yeah, what everybody freaking wanted. They wanted Ocarina of Time, but more like gritty. So that's the only time I've ever seen them listen and publicly say, like, we heard the fans. You didn't really like Wind Waker. We love the art style. sad to hear most of the fans didn't like it. Here, we're giving you what you wanted.
Now, you put it like, and I hate to be this guy, like be super negative.
Do it.
What
Do
did they
it.
do? What did they did immediately after that? Wind Waker, solid 10 out of 10s. You know what I mean? Like their Metascore was off the charts. They were doing great. Immediately after that, they were like, "Yeah, we're not doing that again, guys. We didn't like the grittiness. Here, have Skyward Sword. You wanna ride a big ass pigeon? Here, this is what you get." You know, I'm like, bro, what happened? You know what I mean? They give us the cell shaded graphics, and they make Link like, oh my dude. That's what I'm saying though. Go ahead.
The funny thing is, and I didn't realize this, I saw it on Twitter, after the Nintendo Direct and just confirmed on Wikipedia. That game was received, at least by critics,
Very well.
Very well.
Which
93 on Metacritic.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
was?
9.5 out of 10,
Oh, yes.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10,
God.
40 out of 40, 10 out
It
of
got
10,
10 out of
4.5
10s
stars.
everywhere
Like, yeah.
almost.
I felt like all the reviews that I read were like, it's an okay game.
That's what
But I
I
guess
remembered too. That's why I was like, wait, no, it wasn't. And then I looked it up, and
Well-
it reviewed very well.
Yeah, but this was pre, and I'm not even trying to be funny here. This is like legit. This was pre plagiarism IGN, right? This is like this one where IGN will say, "Go buy Canon Lynch. That game is good," and we all bought it thinking it was good, and the game was fucking hot trash. You know what I mean? When IGN
That was back then when a lot of company. I'm not saying Nintendo necessarily did it, but people were being paid off.
Yeah,
and getting revenue space, and managers would lean on reviewers to go, you need to bump that score up a little bit. They just, paid us a buttload of money to be on front page.
And here's the problem when it comes down to, especially now with social media, you can't disgrace a Zelda game publicly and not get shamed. You know what I mean? Like, what was that? Was it Dan Sterling that said that Breath of the Wild, that he gave it like a 9 out of 10 or something like that, and it brought the Metascore like down, and the fans
people were-
lost it.
Yeah, because everyone wanted that game to like outdo Ocarina,
Like,
and it didn't.
it didn't.
Well, sales wise, it did, but that's a whole different reason.
Yeah.
My problem
Nintendo.
with, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Finish
No,
that.
I was gonna say is that here's the problem when it comes down to Zelda games, and I'll be the first to admit, is that my fandom at times blinds me. When I played Breath of the Wild, you could have asked me as I was playing it, and I could tell you this game is near perfect. I sunk so many hours into that game, got everything. I just loved it, right? However, trying to replay it now, right? After I did the things that everything that was to do, you start noticing a lot of things that you told yourself it was okay, right? Like the weapon degradation is like the main one. You'd be like, oh my goodness, like that shit sucked, bro. Like the blacksmith in Hyrule, Breath of the Wild, is worse than the blacksmith from Ghouls and Goblins.
Yeah. That and the weapon degradation bothers me at times, and like especially with the Master Sword. Why does the Master Sword degrade? Why does it have to recharge? That's stupid. Especially after you do the trial of the Master Sword. It should stay full charge all the time. You shouldn't have to use anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Master Sword should have never degraded.
No, especially if you do the trial of the Master Sword. But one of my I did the same thing, Cypher. I played it and was like, this is the greatest ever. And then when I got separated from it for a little while, I was like, it didn't really have any like cool dungeons or like any really cool. I'm sorry.
Hold up.
Yep.
It had dungeons?
No dungeons.
None. I think.
Okay,
dungeons.
I was like, you said it didn't even have cool dungeons. It didn't have dungeons. I mean, that game was lacking.
Yeah,
know-
I mean, it's missing a lot.
And okay, so any of our listeners, like I loved Breath of the Wild. Don't get me wrong, but to say that it's a perfect game, or to say it's my top, people are saying like, oh, it should be in your top one Zelda game. No, I'm sorry, like I can't give it that, because things that made other Zelda games iconic for everybody who loves Zelda is always something different. You know what I mean? For some people, it's dungeons. For some people, it's the story. For some people, it's just a particular side quest. And for this one, for me. Not saying that I hate it, but for example, I'm gonna give you the Spirit Temple is the first thing that comes into mind when I did the Ocarina of Time, right? Because the Spirit Temple is the first, it's the last temple, but it's like the first time where you felt the stakes being as high as they were. You know, in Ocarina of Time, like the sages, they imply that they got killed. You know, Saria got killed by the ghost, Darunia by Volvagia. Cool. You see Nabura get killed by Hotoke Hakane, right? That was dope.
She gets whacked.
You know what I'm saying? You fight her as an Iron Knuckle, as a mini boss before one of the greatest, end of dungeon boss battles, right? And they straight up like Dragon Ball Z her ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
do.
and right in front of Link, you'd be like, oh, word? And I gotta fight these old ladies, like the women that raised Ganondorf. I loved it. That's the first thing to come into mind in Ocarina of Time. For other people, it's Link going from kid to adult. You know, for Breath of the Wild, like as much as I enjoy the game, there's not a moment there where I was like, holy snap, like this is a Zelda game. Like it was awesome. But like the cutscenes were cool, but they really didn't tell you anything of the story, especially when you bought the Ballad of the Champions, bro. Like Rivali, it was still an asshole. Memphis still cared for her brother. You know, the Rook is still afraid of dogs. You know, like there was nothing that really solidified the camaraderie except for like that last selfie they took.
Yeah.
And, I was hoping that Age of Calamity will give me some of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to see Link, interacting with these guys, as they are headed to their final destination, no pun intended. And we didn't get that, But yeah, I don't know. I might be the pessimist of the group.
Yeah, and that's why like Twilight Princess is one of my favorite games. Because it's like the darker, grittier one. It's basically like an upgrade of Ocarina of Time. Well, let me phrase it. It's essentially the same game, but it's your connection to the different people. The things you do for like, you help the kids out, and then you help the town out, and all this other stuff. And so it's cool, and it's some of that like open worldness coming through, but not as like open and almost empty as Breath of the Wild is.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I feel like overall, I mean, there's no doubt about it. We all Zelda lovers here, I think when it comes down to like the formula though, Breath of the Wild was a good switch of ingredients to make like another Zelda that we know and love, something that's not copy and paste. Because as much as you guys love Twilight Princess, which I did enjoy it, for example, that tutorial sucked.
Oh yeah, the first 5 hours of the game are awful.
Like
I
HD
love
version.
if you got that out of there. I mean, Ocarina is my favorite game of all time, and obviously my favorite Zelda game. Twilight Princess, if you get rid of just that beginning part, like basically, what would be the tutorial, it rivals Ocarina to me. To me, if you just get that out of there, like I would love to play through that game again right now. But just the thought of having to go through those first few hours, I'm just like, never mind.
Bro, those fucking wolf tears, holy shit.
Yeah.
And you gotta get like 20.
Version reduces it.
Yeah, it's a little
which
better.
I'm hoping they port it, to the Switch. But I've recently replayed the HD version, and those first few hours are a slog. Like, when you think about when Sean's talking about Ocarina, the whole tutorial on that is over. It feels like in 15 minutes, and you're already doing your first dungeon.
Right.
Especially if you know what to do.
Find some rupees, buy the shield. Okay, now you're good. You're
get
off.
your sword, cool. Go get go get up the Deku Tree's crabs. I mean spiders. It was basically he basically got crabs, bro. You just call him.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Like just like pest control for the Deku Tree, and but like for me, my favorite is Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game, and arguably the Zelda game that has aged the best. In my opinion, and I enjoyed it because one, the tutorial level was almost seamless. There was a lot of like the world was gonna end. You know what I mean? Like it can't get no better than bigger than that. It's like Skull Kid is basically the closest thing that Nintendo's gonna have to a Joker. They were like, look, I don't care about anybody. I just want to see the world burn, literally. And I'm like, I like this villain. I like Link. The fact that every time he transforms into one of the mass characters where it's basically he's absorbing their soul because those characters died in front of you, I thought it was awesome. However, when Breath of the Wild though, like it's or Age of Calamity, talking about the timeline, at least those games have a clear cut like storyline, point A to point B. Yeah, you're gonna save the princess of the world. And the Breath of the Wild is just like, damage control. Age of Calamity was supposed to be something different. And now I'm thinking about the timeline more and more as I talk to you guys. The only thing I cannot place my finger in and it's different. Is where do we go from here? Because I feel like I can't think of a conclusion or an inclusion to the timeline where I'm gonna be satisfied. Like, if they tell me it's non-canon, I'm gonna be pissed. If they tell me it is canon and we're gonna have a happy ending, I'm gonna be pissed. And they're gonna tell me we're gonna get a shitty ending regardless, and I'm still gonna be like, bitch, just make it non-canon. Like, I can't think of a situation where I'm gonna be okay in the placement of this game's timeline.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here with some placement of timeline with what we know of Age of Calamity and Breath of the Wild. We don't have any confirmation that Breath of the Wild is the convergence of the 3 timelines, but it feels like it with all the references.
Yes.
Hear me out here. And maybe I'm going too far stretch, and you can, reach through the mic and punch me and, slap me around, whatever. We'll, take workplace violence training later.
I'm going to hug you later.
Who's to not say that Breath of the Wild is in one timeline, Age of Calamity is another timeline, and Breath of the Wild sequels the other timeline? Who's not to say that they didn't converge them all and each one's separate?
I can see that happening. The Breath of the Wild 2 is, part of one of the other timelines.
And then they're just using not even necessarily the world. Like, they're like, yeah, we're going to use Hyrule again, but they use Hyrule every time. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same map. We may get the game and nothing's the same. If it's not the same.
I could just see a conclusion, like a 4th game where everything's going to converge together, right? And they're just going to give us like an Avengers Endgame type of, ending.
They do a sequel to the next.
Everybody's going to fight Ganondorf, versus of the heroes, champions.
Oh my God, where every link from every timeline comes through a portal.
You're going to have Ganondorf like hold up the Triforce and like right before he's going to snap his fingers like Thanos, he's like, I am inevitable. And Link is going to be like, I am the hero of time. And just
oh my God. That's where they're headed with all these Breath of the Wild games. We're going to get one after the other. And slowly all of them are going to introduce time travel, and then they're all going to come together with the darkest timeline.
Bro. I'd be here for a dark Zelda. I'd be here to play as Zelda.
Well, I want to be able to play Zelda and not in a Muso game. And since they failed us with Age of Calamity, give me a Zelda game where Link doesn't win. Just give me a game that ends on a bad note.
Actually, we could say this for the next for another episode, but I have a perfect pitch for a Ganondorf game. Right? A legit Ganondorf game, and people it would even play that different because they already did a gritty Zelda-esque title. No, not title, game called the first Darksiders. It was very Zelda-esque game.
Yeah, it was.
Remember that game?
A Ganondorf game where the conclusion is the timeline where the hero falls. Bruh, I will buy that shit like right now. It could be a Kickstarter. Like some rogue cast from Nintendo be like, yeah, we're making this game. We own Ganondorf now. I'm like, hey, bro, I got a couple $1,000s in my savings. You can have it. It's cool.
just make sure my name's in the credits and I get the first print.
Make me into a character like, hey, babe, we took out a second mortgage. Why? It's okay. It'll make sense at the end. I'm just saying, I will make perfect sense if they do something like a Ganondorf only game. Like, why not? I mean, Ganondorf's popularity is growing, especially with his popularity now in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I was gonna say once you got to control him in Smash, I could see people wanting that for sure.
Smash and then Muso, you can play Ganondorf. So I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. And like I said, like give us a timeline, when Link actually falls and whatnot. Like, dude, you could have it. And the people that ask me how this game will work, and you play as a young Ganondorf being raised by the Gerudo Sea, like how shitty it is to live in the desert, right? And the main game is gonna take in the 7 years that Link was is locked in the Sacred Realm, being an adult, and Ganondorf was just wrecking havoc in Hyrule. That'd be dope. Just like imagine just going to Death Mountain, and just slapping a bunch of Gorons.
Showing out to Zora Mountain and just like Zora and just knocking them out.
knocking him out. Like have a boss fight where Jabu Jabu. Come on, you can't tell me
Grab
you would
by
not
his
love
tail
that.
and swing him around.
Your boss fights can be you bringing them into line, like you beat them and then they serve you.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it would be
Yeah, where
awesome.
you put them under the spell. You kill each sage.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be like have a secret ending. Well, not secret, like a secret boss battle at the end, where after Link falls, you fight Zelda. You like Zelda is a boss battle. Come on, bro. And you can't tell me that can't be done. So it was done in Twilight Princess. Only Ganondorf possessed her. Ignoring the fact that that's creepy as hell.
Still, they have the ability to create these darker games, but I feel like some of Nintendo's family child underlyings creep out into these games.
The problem with
They're
Nintendo,
like, well, we still have to have a happy ending. We still have to do the Disney story.
I hate that shit.
And it's like, no, these games are dark. If you really analyze it and, look into things, these games are not friendly. They're not happy.
Yeah.
The implications alone is dark as hell. Here's a problem with Nintendo, bro. Nintendo, unlike Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Nintendo refuses to acknowledge that the fandom that bought their game as kids, us, grew up. Right?
Oh,
That's why we don't get we get gritty Batman movies. That's why we get the Arkham Asylum games, right? That's why Nintendo wants to cater to a demographic that doesn't care about adventure games or like storytelling games as much as we do. You know what I mean? Like these kids want to play Fortnite, Call of Duty, something that they can, play with their friends. Yeah, it's mindless. Like Nintendo refuse to grow up with its fandom. That's why that's why each Pokemon, is getting even more and more easier and more, I don't know, childlike. Nobody, to the point where like we know the demographic that buy Pokemon games is adults like us. But yet they're not like, I'm not saying give us a rated R Pokemon, you know what I mean? Like I want to see Pikachu just electrocuted somebody to death. I mean, that would be awesome.
Pikachu's head falls off and rolls across the floor.
I don't know, that would be so great. However, give me a rated T game, you know what I mean? Rated T, and give me some some actual stakes, some actual something to think about. Like let your IPs grow. I mean, don't do it with Mario, but do it with Wario. Samus is perfect grounds for something, more closer to M-rated. Star Fox as well. And, Metroid has flirted with the idea. And I feel like Zelda, the actual Zelda IP, the title, can command so much love, respect by just taking its IP and be a little bit more adult-oriented in the sense of, ratings. Give us a rated T+. And in that way, all these timeline issues can be fixed if you just be like more concrete. Like, yes, Link died here. Get over it. This is Zelda's show now. The legend is about her now. You know what I mean? Like, give us something like that, so we don't have to like fill in the gaps ourselves as fans.
Yeah, so much of the adult and dark things are hinted at in like item descriptions or. When some random person talking about something like when you find out, oh, well, Stalfos are made by adults who wander into the lost woods and get lost and they become a skeleton. And, Skull Kids are kind of creepy. Yeah, zombies. What happens to the, there's several creepy enemies that are just really creepy. And
Kokori are abandoned children.
Yeah. Like there's exactly the Kokori or abandoned children, and
they never grow up. That's scary,
exactly.
bro.
It's terrifying.
You're a child forever, and you're abandoned by your parents, and you don't know anything other than that small world.
Yep, you get adopted by a fairy, and you live in this wooden house forever. Like
and your grandfather is a tree that dies from crabs.
Yes, exactly. And there's lots of dark things in the Zelda universe. They just don't want to just take the extra step. And
I feel like they peel the page back and show you just a little bit, and they're like, no, you're not ready for that.
Like, no.
Yeah. Like, I'm 32, I'm ready for that.
This is a... Go ahead.
And this kind of gives me an idea as we're talking about this. Breath of the Wild's best-selling Zelda game ever. It's outsold a bunch of Mario games now. Who's to say that Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to take that dark turn?
I think it should.
I mean, the teaser does look a little darker.
I mean, it does look darker. That's
teaser
when
is
be
scary.
the first time Nintendo hasn't Wind Waker commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Looked really dark, and
Cypher
we get into
reminded us all of the Wind Waker commercial.
We get into the game and we're like, this ain't dark. This ain't scary. Things aren't dire. Walking around, skipping down, Hyrule land, like whatever.
It reminds me like the perfect analogy is in Ocarina of Time when you make it to the castle, right? Doesn't matter if it's day, it will just turn pitch dark. You see Zelda and Impa just taking off, and Zelda has the best football arm that she launches the ocarina like 100 yards away, and then Ganon just shows up and blasts Link on the face, right? And you were like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I
Just
get it.
knocks him over.
And for the next day, right? Because you wake up the next day and it's like daytime, and you be like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And then you go into the marketplace. Granted, I know what happened here was just like the limitation of the system, but when you walk in the marketplace, you see everybody's just doing the same thing. You see like the same jugglers, the same couples that have been
Everybody's
dancing.
happy.
Everybody's happy, but there's actually an Easter egg that a lot of people didn't find. I was surprised they didn't. If you go to the back alley where you help find the dog for the mayor, you'll find a soldier that dies in front of you. When you talk to him, he goes like, "Ganondorf betrayed the king. You must and then his arm goes down. Then Navi goes like, "He stopped moving. And I'm like, did this dude just died in front of me? And I was like, oh snap, that was awesome. But you have to find it. You know what I mean? And if that would have came out like on PlayStation, what was that?
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now. I found a video of it. I'll share it with you guys.
What's it called? It's actually I thought they were gonna take it out on the 3DS. Yes, that's the video right there. For our listeners, GCG just posted a video.
I'll put it in a link so people can.
Yeah, because
Link.
The link of Link watching the dead dude. I like Link is like emotionless expression too. He's like, all right, well, sucks for this guy. But overall, man, that was awesome. I love that. Like seeing that as a kid, like freaked me out. Right then, when you come back as an adult, you see the market destroy a bunch of zombies because those are the citizens. And you'd be like, holy shit, like, this is dope. And then we got Wind Waker. Well, after Majora's Mask, but you know what I mean. Where everybody's happy.
The other thing that bothered me, and if we're going to talk about limitations, I get it, but like, no one noticed Ganondorf trying to sneak behind Link?
I mean, yeah.
Nobody noticed that dude walking, like, creepily following this little kid all the way to the Temple of Time? And where were the guards?
Well,
like I get there's limitations to the system. There's creative visions and, et cetera. And maybe one day we'll get this Ocarina of Time remake or HD proper port where they're like, all these things we want to do in the game, we can do it now.
You know what's even more creepy about that sentence that you just made me think about it? It's not so much that he followed Link to the Temple of Time, to a church at that, because that's what the Temple of Time is, creepy.
Yeah.
Is that he just watched him sleep all night in the field, waiting for him to wake up.
Yeah, dude just was like, I'm just going to ride around. Maybe he'll wake up.
Like, all right, cool. Take me to the temple. Take me to church.
Who's to say Ganondorf didn't wake him up?
That's true. He kicked him a couple times. The fact that Ganondorf blasted him on the face was, like, awesome. Like, seeing that scene was dope. You know what I mean? But Breath of the Wild 2, if we go by the teaser, and the more we talk about this, the more I'm thinking about Aonuma just scrapping everything. Because he was like, oh, this might be a little too dark.
Yeah, who's to say this game hasn't been scrapped and remade at some point during this development cycle?
It happened to Breath of the Wild twice.
Yeah, that game's gone through. I'd love to one day, maybe like with the Ocarina of Time, someone finds an old alpha dump, beta dump of all the assets.
Like, you guys remember the first trailer when, like, the Guardian, is chasing after him and,
and everyone thought Link was a girl.
All these things. And when people like to theorizing the Link was actually female, like in the original trailer, which you can't find because Nintendo scrapped it, Link had more feminine proportions to him in that trailer. That's why people were like making like those theories and stuff. And then that's when around the time they dropped the DLC for Hyrule Warriors for Linkle, the female version of Link that was a playable character.
That's right. Yeah, because it was in the 3DS, and then they made it a DLC for the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. Personally speaking, I remember seeing like the gameplay when Miyamoto was playing with was it Aonuma? Like the gameplay looked different. Was different. It was it didn't have a heavy cell shaded graphics as it did now. It was more bulky, more more Twilight Princess esque. And
More
a lot of people
grounded.
think, yeah, And a lot of people were thinking, because again, you talk about the tech demo, they did that again and they had a Wii U tech demo when it fought in armor Goma in the trailer. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I do.
Yeah, I remember that.
And people were thinking that was going to be a boss fight in that game, which obviously we were wrong because the game didn't have traditional dungeons and the bosses were, basically the same dude with with new or different abilities. Excuse me. I don't know. If they do an alpha dump here in the near future, maybe. Or I just feel like this. We haven't heard nothing about this game, and this could potentially be Nintendo's next biggest seller. The fact that we haven't heard nothing, not a second teaser, not some type of, not even a leak of anything,
Well, the last time there was a major leaker, they got fired. So there was an actual Nintendo employee that was leaking to an insider, and Nintendo found him and fired him.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Since they tend to take down anything on YouTube or
Nintendo
Twitch
ninjas.
or anything. Yeah, the ninjas, they'll find you.
They've got some people in that department that are skilled.
Oh, they are. They are. And
Do they have a whole department just devoted to find Nintendo stuff?
They have to. Most businesses have departments, be it legal or fraud or something. They have to have some people that keep an eye on that stuff. There's no way that they don't. I'm sorry.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
No, my bad. Because I was going to say, it leads me to my biggest concern of the Nintendo Direct. I know this is not the subject of the episode, but I just have to say it. Is the fact that Nintendo is good at destroying emulators, ROMs, ISO of the game, which is fine. It's piracy, right? But the fans also say yeah, but you guys have also no intention of re-releasing these games, right? It's just games that are just stuck in the vault, and you guys are not reselling them. There's no virtual consoles. At least PlayStation and Microsoft, hell, Steam finds whatever. Hey, you don't have the rights to this? Fuck it, it's our game now. You can buy for $3. Hell, we'll pay you to play this crap. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo was like, nah, bro, live off your memories.
Yeah, they are hardcore about not preserving their history.
It's kind of sad if you think about it, Cause
it makes me hold on to my games tighter.
What?
Like making sure the cartridges always work. Making sure that I don't lose something or it gets damaged in a move.
Shit, you know how expensive it is to find a copy of the Ocarina of Time 3DS? I'm not even playing. It's dumb expensive now.
I don't even want to think about it because I still have an original launch copy.
Me too.
You talking about the game or the actual 3DS?
Both.
Yeah, that's true.
3DSs, they're Zelda themed, are expensive.
I
tried to buy them last year and then everyone was like, you want how much? Nah, I'm good.
It's sad, man, because look, I get it. You know what I mean? Consoles have a longevity. They have an expiration date. We know this. It's not a secret, right? That's why backwards compatibility is so important. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's why hardware in general, it gets old and ages, and at some point something new and cool comes out. I get it.
Now, when it comes down to actual props to Sony and Microsoft for at least trying to conserve their library, bring them back. You know what I mean? Hey, you guys enjoyed this game, San Andreas. We're not gonna give you a new one, but here's the no copy you can buy. We even added some achievements and stuff like that. I really wish Nintendo would take a page out of their own book because they started that. You know what I mean? They had the virtual console. They started that. That whole buy from our marketplace these old games that you enjoyed. Right now, the only virtual console that we had was the SNES and the NES, right? But in the Wii U, we had games from the GameCube and the Wii and the 64, And I'm like, bro, you guys just hate money. They could charge me hey, bro, this is going to be Nintendo Game Pass type thing. You can play all the Nintendo IPs from past consoles. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I'll be playing fucking Star Fox Adventures, even though I hated that game. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of missed that game, even though I know it was not the best game.
Yeah.
At least the flying in it was good.
I don't want to talk about Star Fox, bro. Nintendo's.
They had allowed some stinkers once in a while. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but when you drop a game every 10 years and the last two were trash, come on, bro. We haven't gotten an Earthbound or Mother game since the SNES, even though Ness is a super popular character. And Smash Brothers, hell, we've gotten 20 Fire Emblems.
That game It's popular in Japan, I get it, but it's not. I feel like it's not as popular in the U.S.
The last two have started to really come out. Did you say something, Sean?
Nope.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying something. Yeah, they've been coming up, but yeah, I would pay a lot of money for a Zelda collection of actual, like, here's all the Zelda games, because there's some gaps in my, like, you know, I did never have a Game Boy Advance, so I never played any of those games, stuff like that. So there's definitely ones that I want to play, and I would pay good money to play them, but they won't release them, so I'm kind of screwed. Emulators or nothing. And
I don't have a problem playing games on emulators, but it doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't.
No matter how good an emulator is, like, I still want to just pop it in the console or load it on the console and grab that controller and just play.
Well, the fact is, an emulator is just that, an emulator, right? And one of the problems that people don't think about when the hardware and software ages is the fact that, you know, I mean, when you get used to, this is gonna be like a out of bounds example, but FPS is how we know them now, right? Or the standards, you know what I mean? Like right stick to look, L stick to walk around and stuff. But back in the GoldenEye age, you play those games. Those games has like Turok, GoldenEye. Those FPSs have aged horribly. Because just as something as simple as gameplay. So when they port these games to newer console, they feel clunky. They feel, you know what I mean, they like an emulator doesn't do it justice. You have to revamp certain gameplay mechanics. So when it comes down to certain games, like we need more than just HD remasters. You know what I mean? There has to be some type of quality of life that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Nintendo, unfortunately, and I say this with a lot of pain in my heart. They don't give a fuck about the fans, right? We're getting a new Pokemon Snap, a game that people been asking for, supposedly. Even though none of my people in my circle been asking for like a Pokemon Snap game. Like, I mean, you have Pokemon Go, like take the pictures of those Pokemon, you know. But yeah, we're not getting all the games that we actually want. I mean, no Bayonetta 3. No trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. Metroid Prime 4. We had like a title card 4 years ago. That's it. Nothing. No comment. You know. But then you keep releasing like Splatoon 3, which is a good game. But does anybody really be as hype as as quick to pay for Splatoon 3 versus a Zelda game? I remember like the Switch was sold out for months, almost like the PS5. You know, it's sold out now because Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, those were the games to have on 2017. And it was hard to find. You mean to tell me if you drop Breath of the Wild 2, like, you know, like these games are going to be either sold out or just simply, you know, they're going to oversell, even if the game is not as good as its predecessor. So why are they not, you know, printing money, basically?
Why are they not feeding starved Nintendo fans who finally have a console they like and they're sitting here begging for any kind of lifeline?
Dude, we're begging for fucking Wii U ports. That's sad if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, can you at least give us those games?
I mean, yeah, I didn't buy a Wii U and I'm begging for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I saw, you know, the Mario, what was it, the 3D All-Stars or whatever, and, you know, at first I was pretty hyped for that. I'm like, hell yeah. And then I got it, and I'm like, this is, and maybe I'm in the minority here, I'm like, this is terrible. I was really looking forward to playing 64 more than anything. Now, maybe that's on me, but that game, I mean, talk about aging poorly. I couldn't play it. I couldn't do it. I was just like, this game is, you know, I'm sure it was a masterpiece back when it came out, but I'm like, you guys couldn't have just revamped the camera, like, given us something new to it. And as soon as I saw, you know, the bare bones attempt at this, you know, Mario collection for the anniversary, I'm like, if this is what they're doing for Mario, like, as much as I love Zelda, Mario is their, you know, their bread and butter, it's their mascot. Like, if that's all the effort they're going to put in for the Mario anniversary, like, I'm not holding my breath for anything special for the Zelda anniversary.
I mean,
Skyward Sword.
On that note, though, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Mario 64 has come out since then. But luckily, like, almost all of the 3D Zelda games have had some sort of like HD remaster, be it on the 3DS or on the Wii U. So like those seem like easy ports, especially since they've ported so many Wii U games already. So I feel like it was an easy miss for sure.
Yeah, Mario 64 got put on the DS, and then we didn't ever see it again.
I think is Wind Waker now the only one that we haven't gotten a second release of? Like the 3DS got Ocarina and Majora, Twilight came out.
We had Wind Waker HD.
Yeah,
on
it got
Wii U.
HD on the Wii U.
It was actually a launch
HD.
title.
Okay.
Yeah, and they
version's
from what I
really
understand,
nice.
it's a vast improvement too.
It was great. I'm gonna tell you right
Yeah,
now.
they fixed the
good and
sailing,
plays way
right?
better.
So you don't have to do the.
The sailing's faster, easier. Like they made the controls
that's
better
right.
so that you could change the wind direction
They did
and
the
still
fucking
like.
bitch ass Triforce side quest. They redid that side quest, and I don't know if you.
Thank God.
They put a lot of work
Talking
into
about when
it.
you go and like just dig the pieces out of the ocean.
I never beat that game because of that. I got that far, and then I'm like, nah, I'm done. And
They redid
I
it.
never went back and played it.
You didn't have to pay Tango an arm and a leg again, because like for those everybody here played Wind Waker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so in the OG version, like the big difference is that back then you just had to pay Tinko. Like you got to find a map. Tinko has to decipher it for $400, and that's like your capacity wallet. And you got to do that shit like 20 times. But then you find the map, then you got to do whatever little quest to get the piece. You got to do that like 20 times, right? And the last one for the Wii U was like, you just get the maps. That's it. You know.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Made it way easier and simpler, and it wasn't a pain. It wasn't a slog. They made that game flow.
Now, they did something worse that nobody noticed and nobody complained about. And I did. I noticed, and I still don't forgive him for it. And the original, when Link stabs the hell out of Ganondorf's forehead, it shows him stabbing Ganondorf in the head, right? He just turns to stone. And this one, you get a flash of white in the screen, and then you cut to Link on the floor, and Ganondorf's just turning into stone.
Oh, that's dumb.
And you don't even see, like, you just notice, like, as the camera's fading out, as they're escaping the flooding Hyrule, that the sword is actually in his forehead, right? I remember I was so amazed that this little tiny cartoon Link savagely killed Ganondorf. Like, nah, bro, you about to take this Master Sword to the head. And they cut that part, or they did some, like, editing so it doesn't seem like that's what happened, like they left it to the imagination.
Yeah.
In the original, like Link straight up stabs him in the head. I'm like, wow. And they
That's
just
I
disappointing.
didn't realize that or notice that, but yeah, that's something that's disappointing.
so either way though, yeah, but it didn't get ported to the Wii U. It could have been easy. I mean, it was already running on 1080p.
Just put it on a console that makes it run slightly smoother, and you're good to go.
You know what I mean? And dude, I don't know, man, because we have rumors of a Switch 2 coming out with a faster processor, the ability to run at 1080 even on the go. And I thought that was gonna be bundled, or that was gonna be like the selling point for Breath of the Wild 2. And
I mean, it could still happen. I mean,
Yeah, I think it will.
I feel like those two are tied together based on just comments we see online.
So the question is forever gonna be then, should we remain hopeful? Because I don't think we're gonna get none of that shit this year.
No, I don't think it's coming this year.
No. So with my theory is that like with the anniversary being, what is it, Sunday? The 35th
officially,
anniversary?
yeah.
Yep.
And they didn't really acknowledge that. And I think it's because we're still technically within the year of them announcing the 35th anniversary of Mario. I don't think they'll dive into that stuff until either after Sunday or after the Mario anniversary is over.
I think we won't see anything to the new fiscal.
Yeah, which would be the end of March or beginning of March.
Yeah, their fiscal ends at the end of March, and then we have April for the new fiscal. But then that puts us so close to E3.
And E3's coming back
feel
this
like
year.
Even if E3 is digital this year, they decide to be like everyone else and go, no, we're going to do our own thing, and they do their own thing. I feel like the next major direct they have, that's when we'll either get a 35th anniversary recognition, or we'll get a Mario 35th anniversary style direct where it's like, hey, here's what we're going to do to celebrate Zelda. This is what we have. It's like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with that is, aside from us using a fuck ton of head canon, I think the biggest issue would be simply just trying to figure out, trying to remain hopeful that they're gonna give us what we want and not pull a, what's it called, like we're just gonna give you a bunch of old shit that you already know exists, because with Mario it makes sense that we got the 3D All-Stars, right? It makes sense because they haven't announced or teased a new Mario. The last big Mario game was Odyssey, and that was, don't get me wrong, Mario Odyssey was great. Even then they actually did a little better. Like, yeah, we're gonna put Mario 3D World with the expansion of Bowser's Fury, which is brand new gameplay, brand new game, essentially, right? Brand new expansion pack. But with Zelda, I mean, like, all you got is speculation. We know what Age of Calamity was, but at least Age of Calamity gave us some hope of like, yo, we get Age of Calamity, that means Breath of the Wild is closed. They're just giving us this to hold off, to buy something in the holidays, right?
It definitely felt like we can't release Breath of the Wild for whatever reason we wanted to, so here's something to hold you over. But then they give us something that, in my opinion, pissed off a lot of fans.
The Skyward Sword thing?
No, Age of Calamity.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You it kind of goes back to our earlier conversation. You make us feel like we're going to have this epic fight, and then you give us this Disney ending, and I feel like that was a huge letdown. But you were saying, Cypher?
No, and ultimately, when it comes down to my bad, hit the mic. Ultimately, when it comes down to us waiting for E3, or waiting for all these events, right? Is just speculation at that point, and I feel like when it comes down to things like this, it's better to remain clear from speculation, because Nintendo can just put another Nintendo, tell us they're gonna show up at E3, tell us that they're gonna go ham on E3, and they're gonna give us exactly what they want, kind of like how they did with this Nintendo Direct, and then just show us, Fire Emblem 18, 5 more houses, you know what I mean? And you'd be like, yo, what is you guys doing?
Legend of Zelda, Fire Emblem, and just do like a strategy Fire Emblem. Actually, I like strategy games. I'd play the shit out of that, but still.
That reminds me, in Nintendo Direct, when they gave us that, like, new tactical game developed by Square Enix, and I was like, so Fire Emblem? No, it's by Square Enix. Oh, my bad. Final Fantasy Tactics? No, it's different. I'm like, I hate it here. I was like,
I mean, it looks just like right now the working title is Project Triangle Strategy. It's from the same people that did Octopath Traveler, which I loved that game, and this game looks just like Final Fantasy Tactics. So I was like, yeah, I'll buy that.
Which is great. It's not a bad game.
The demo.
I think the dev team have people that did Final Fantasy Tactics.
They do. The dev team over there that's working on those, that worked on Octopath Traveler in this game, are some of the devs that worked on some of the earlier Final Fantasy games.
Which again, it's not a bad thing. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not a bad thing at all. But to be the face of your event, because come on, who out here will they can't be as stupid or naive to think that people are gonna show up and watch this event and get all the viewers that they got in this live event to see, the new Square Enix, the new Capcom project, the new, no, you know exactly what we want. We want that dude with the green hat stabbing motherfucker and cutting grass. That's all we want. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say.
Playing exactly off what you just said. So one of the first Zelda games I ever played was Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, and it's the third game my son has played, and he is doing the exact same thing I did when I was 5 and had that game on Game Boy, which he has no idea what to do in that game because it's obtuse as hell, and so he's just running around cutting grass and digging holes with the shovel, and he got the chain chomp, and so he's really just walking around letting the chain chomp eat everything. So
it was the same thing when I first played that game. I had no clue what to do.
I had no clue what to do when I played it as an adult. I had to get a guide. That game is obtuse as fuck.
What's it called? You know what's crazy about that particular? Another thing that Nintendo does that every other company's doing. Hell, even bitch ass Konami is doing that with Metal Gear 1, remaking it. You know what I'm saying? With current gen graphics and stuff. Nintendo has so many 2D Zeldas, Like, imagine making the Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons into one game, 3D. Hell, they could use the Breath of the Wild engine. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome. Like, just like games that you have to use your imagination. Like when they gave us a Link to the Past. We thinking like, holy snap, they're remaking Link to the Past. Like, no, they just gave you Link of the Past even more cartoony. Granted, it was a great game, but I'm like, bro, I would love to see this with like a 3D Zelda feel, and gave me the same emotional response when I woke up that bitch ass dream well. I need to start calling things bitch asses because
Nintendo Ninja's gonna get you.
They're like, yeah, we need to shut this down. Like, first of all,
Like that comic of Miyamoto stabbing that kid. He's just going to show up at your house.
With a really, really weird grin.
Yes.
Miyamoto shows up at my house. Aside from me panicking, I think I'm gonna go off on him like a very pissed off spouse. So you're just gonna go on your event and not mention Zelda? So my emotions mean nothing to you. Then he's just gonna stab me because that's who Miyamoto is. Hell, I'm pretty sure Satoru Iwata is somewhere in the afterlife looking down on us laughing like, hey, yeah, bitch, but you're still gonna pay for that shit.
Oh, he knows it print money, but he was a gamer too.
He was, but he was also a gangster. You guys ever seen like that little interview where he had with like Sakurai? When he told Sakurai, yeah, that made me sad for Sakurai. He goes like, hey, bro, like when I announced Smash Brothers without even telling you about it, and like, and if you didn't work on it, we're just gonna do some other shit. So you got two options.
They basically told him he was going to replace him if he didn't do it.
With a smile on his face. That's what scared me. It was like in an interview, like it was like Nintendo Talks or whatever. I was like, God damn, bro.
He was the angry parent of Nintendo.
He was. Man, look. Overall, though, I love Nintendo. Like, I have no brand loyalty, right? Like, I jump into the console wars just because it's entertaining. It's funny to me, right? But I have no loyalty between Sony or Xbox. You know, I have a PS5 because the exclusives on Sony are better for me than whatever Microsoft has to offer. The only brand that has my blind loyalty is Nintendo. Because I bought a Wii U. I bought a Wii. And I bought a GameCube. You know what I mean? Like, Nintendo puts out whatever, and I'm like, I'm getting it. I have a 3D, the 3DS Ocarina of Time 3DS. I have it right here in my hand. I bought this thing so blindly because, hey, they're remaking Ocarina of Time into a new 3DS. I'm like, all right, bro, where do I pay?
Yeah.
Any Zelda announcements that guarantee, like, okay, you can have my money and I'll figure it out later if I want it or not.
I know, right?
The Wii U is like I think is the only Nintendo console I didn't buy because Nintendo has my loyalty brand wise with one condition. Is there a Zelda game? No?
Yes.
Then you don't have my money.
No, that's why I didn't buy Wii U, because they're like, well, we have the HD ports. I was like, yeah, but where's the real Zelda?
Yeah, I was like, I've played those games.
I'll get those when I buy the Wii U, but where's the Zelda game? And then they kept delaying it, and I was like, I'm not buying it till you put it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were like, oh, it's going to be on Switch too, I was like, well, I'm not buying a Wii U now.
I wish I was as strong as you guys, because all I heard, hey, Smash Brothers. I'm like, dude, I already bought the system. It's on its way. It's on its way, you know?
I went and bought Smash Brothers 3DS. I was like, screw that.
I'm legit thinking about getting a 3DS XL or 2DS XL so my son can play Ocarina of Time in like the best way possible.
Good
Best
luck
dad
finding
ever
it.
right here.
What'd you say?
Yeah. One, good luck finding it, and yes, best dad ever.
Well, I mean, he loves Zelda, so I'm definitely going to just keep feeding that habit. It's like, here's another Zelda game. He legit was playing a different game, and he was like, wait, what's this game? I was like, oh, this is called Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. He's like, another game? I said, yeah, here you go. And that's all he's been doing.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah,
I don't know if
sure.
you can remember this conversation, but if you do, please record his reaction whenever he has to do the punk-ass big Goron sword side quest.
Oh, he'll be like, Dad, can you do this for me?
I want to see when he gets to the water temple.
Oh my God, that is the 2DS that I want, but I can't afford that 2DS.
Mm-hmm. It is beautiful. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You know, people like to give the water temple a lot of shit. However,
The Master Quest version?
I still didn't find it that hard. I still think the Great Bay Temple gives me, what's it called, anxiety. Like I got PTSD from the Great Bay Temple. I feel like that
Is
was
that the one with like the pipes where you have to change the flow and all that?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah,
Hey.
that one's way worse than Ocarina.
That made me stop playing Majora's Mask.
And you got the 3-day system. You got a 3-day system in that one too. Like, bro, I don't want to die. I don't want to die here.
I died too many times because of the timer on it. I didn't finish it on 64. I said, nope. I don't have the patience for this. I'll go back to Ocarina.
Dude,
Oh my
the
God.
Great Bay 10. Go ahead. What was that?
The Link Between Worlds 2DS that he just shared in the chat is $550 in a box.
Yeah.
Good
I've seen it
Lord.
cheaper, but I guess it's going up in value because people are at home.
Yeah, basically.
I saw one. I saw the they had the Majora's Mask 3DS, the XL version,
Yeah.
that was going for like $600.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Hell, because I really wanted the little Skull Kid figurine that came with it. That figurine alone, I seen it as high as $1,000.
People are crazy.
Look, I would love to tell you that I'd be like, I'm not stupid enough to buy that shit. But that's mostly because I don't have the money. Like, if I had the money where I'd be like, you know what? YOLO. That's what Drake said, right? That's still cool.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna do it. Some people do drugs. This is my vice right here.
This is mine. Oh,
But-
man.
Overall, guys, no lie, I'm glad I'm able to do this with a bunch of Zelda lovers. This is awesome.
Me too.
Yeah, this is fun.
Hell yeah.
Do we have any parting words for our? Because we sound very disgruntled. If we're being honest, anybody can listen to
No,
this like,
and a real talk, like, it's at the end of the day, I love Zelda. I love Nintendo for the most part.
the caveat.
There are some exceptions, and there's some things they do that I just roll my eyes and mute my mic and talk bad about them. But for the most part, anything Zelda has got my support, even if it's like the worst game in the series.
I agree.
I mean,
And
I put, 40 hours in Age of Calamity, so I can second that.
And you can disappoint me all day, and I'll still play it and go, "Yep, here's my money. I'll buy it at launch."
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now, right? Whether this is considered controversial or not, but there's no such thing as a bad Zelda game. There's like at that point you're ranking. Yeah,
I mean, I'm ranking among other Zelda games only.
Yeah, exactly. If you rank amongst other Zelda games, yeah, you get like there's gonna be some type of hierarchy. But as individual games, I can't think of a bad one.
What about the CDI games?
Those don't count.
I said Zelda games. I don't know what
That's
the hell you're
Zelda
talking
game.
about. I never heard of a CDI. I don't know what you're talking about.
Conveniently.
Never
Like
happened.
they didn't have it in my country.
Excuses. They have emulators.
you know what's crazy though? Like I completely forgot, I omitted those things from my mind until you brought it up.
Yeah, because they're not canon.
Oh, thank God. I mean, neither is Hyrule Wars, the first one.
Yeah, and the second one's debatable.
But by the way, before we head out, can we just mention about the first Hyrule Wars? Like the plot is basically, Zelda the fan game. The game is it's like a girl
Oh,
who
yeah.
just simply
It's
just
a-
crushing on
Yeah,
Link.
it's 100 fan art, like fan writing.
He was like, I want Link. He's so sexy, but he doesn't know I exist. I'm gonna make his world go to shit. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, which fan wrote this?
And you have like all of these people working together, and Link's just like, whatever, I'm going to go over here and swipe at some stuff. And Zelda's like, love me.
And I'm like, bro, like even the voices, bro. Like because you can have the option to play the Japanese with English sub. Bro, the voices like in the cutscenes is so hentai-ish. I'm like, bro, like why is he moaning right now? So bad, bro. And but it's not canon. I still enjoyed it. I was like, this is Zelda. How can I not?
It's worth playing if you just want a game that you don't have to think about and you like Zelda.
Yeah. Point
It
is,
runs better than Age of Calamity, too.
which one?
The first Hyrule Warriors runs better than Age of Calamity.
It does, but I actually have an answer for that one. Is because of the characters. Age of Calamity trying to fitting a lot of bigger than life characters to play as. So it's like the Great Fairy, Can run, characters are just huge and they just take up too much space on the screen. And when you have a game that's just running 1,000 enemies plus, there's no way you were gonna run small. I mean,
Not on a Switch, no.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. So, and at least the last one kept it centralized with like the only two big characters were Ganon and the Gold Kuko, the Gold Chicken, and even then those were like they had missions created just for those characters. It wasn't like you can run through the whole game with them. So overall, man, I like what the Hyrule word there, where you can play with any Zelda character from the Zelda canon. That was fun. I mean, I feel like it's good fan service, but for the overall canon, it's not something that I go back to play every once in a while when I feel nostalgic.
Yeah. It's the funny thing is because I was playing with my son, he wanted to play Link, so I actually spent the majority of the time playing as Impa because I found her to be one of the better side characters. So, because you could use her clones and you'd have a huge attack radius.
That's
right.
She's basically a Naruto cosplayer in that game.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Nah, she was my second favorite. Urbosa being my number one.
Urbosa's lightning attacks were good.
I mean, she's wielding literal lightning. I'm like, this is so dope. I love it here. But anyways.
How about you, Sean and Adam? Any departing words about Zelda, Age of Calamity, canon, timeline placement, Breath of the Wild 2, etc.?
Sean, you can go first.
I mean, I'm still very confused. I don't know what to expect, but I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that likes that, I guess. I don't know. When it comes to Breath of the Wild, I'm still wondering, is it really going to be Breath of the Wild 2? I mean, it's been a while since we've had a direct sequel. I mean, I'm sure it is. It's got to be, but that's kind of since Majora. I mean, Majora was probably the last, direct sequel we've gotten, that's within the same. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the timelines and whatever, and they all follow on other games, but it's rare for us to just get a direct sequel to a Zelda game. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm not holding my breath. But I'm excited, and I kind of like not knowing what to expect. So,
yeah, I found Age of Calamity to be a fun game, but it's questionable about its placement in the timeline. So we'll see. I'm hoping that because the backstory of Breath of the Wild was kind of bleak. And I'm hoping that like bleakness and darkness kind of keeps going into the next game. But we'll see. I hope for that, but I'm not. Like Sean said, I'm not going to hold my breath. Nintendo's going to Nintendo, and we'll see what happens.
Sega will when Nintendo don't.
And if you guys want, you can shout out your socials where people can find you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know this, but, hit me up on Cypher World, both YouTube, Twitch. I'm a variety streamer, play everything. Hopefully Nintendo gives me the HD Zelda that we want so I can stream those, because I don't even know how to stream from my 3DS. And yeah, come check me out, guys.
Word.
Yeah, I'm at Real Sean White on Twitter, and check out Two Player Co-op, my podcast with my brother, on YouTube at youtube.com/Two Player Co-op.
And I'm Nerd901 Adam. You can find me on Twitter at Nerd901 Adam. Stream occasionally on twitch.tv/Nerd901. And you can find the Nerd901 podcast on podcast services, whichever one you listen to. I think we're on almost every one of them. And just search the Nerd901 podcast.
Oh, look at
And
that.
of course, the one, the only Gold Cartridge Gamer, or GCG. Find me everywhere under the same name. We will be back next week for another episode of Hyrule Historians. We'll discuss our love and hate for Zelda and Nintendo.
The Hyrule complainers. I mean, history.
We do sound super bitter, but like
We do love Zelda.
I got the Hylian crest tattooed across my entire back. So, yeah.
We're just passionate fans, and we're not just a regular, like, oh, we like it, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're dedicated to the lore and the story, and we really want to see, at the end of the day, a great product.
Agreed.
With that being said, to the fans, the viewers, the followers, the people that love Zelda as much as we do, let us know what kind of topic you guys want to hear us talk about next. We are open to suggestion. And every opinion matters unless your opinion sucks. So
So kind of you, Cypher.
If your opinion sucks, see you later.
And on that bombshell, everybody have a great night, great evening, great day, wherever you're listening to, and take care and wash your damn hands.
Yeah.
Peace.